is something that I'm sure a lot of people have heard about. I've looked into it for a long time, and I thought with all the crazy stuff going on in the world that you know, this really applies to everything, because it could explain a lot of things, like the deep coding and things that the mysteries of the universe. So I want to start with a phenomenon where literally the observer, whether or not you're observing something or not observing something, fundamentally changes what happens.
Meaning what?
That, like, say you're looking at what's going on behind you, something entirely different is going on if you're not looking at what's going on behind you.
Oh, so like, is it one of those, like, if a tree falls in the middle of the forest,
yeah,
does it make a noise or does it not? Did it fall or
yeah, correct.
Or that angle?
Correct. So we're gonna play this video, and then I'm gonna give a list of examples that scientists have cited that are weird things that would indicate we might live in simulation to some degree.
All right.
So let's run the video.
Okay. I love we're playing a game.
So stumped that they decided to observe which slit the particle went through.
Okay. Oh,
and that's when things get really
Brandon, you're
weird.
a pervert. All right.
When scientists used a measuring device to observe the slit that each photon passed through, the interference pattern disappeared, and the photons started behaving like particles. Instead of the spectrum of light and dark bands, we see two bright bands, indicating that the photons chose one slit or the other. So light can display characteristics of both particles and waves, known as wave-particle duality. It appears that light decides to behave as a wave when it's not being watched, and acts like a particle when it is being measured. The mere act of observing which slit it went through changed the behavior of the photons, almost as if they were aware they were being watched.
Light?
It's kind of like how in a video game, the environment and objects only load when the player focuses on or interacts with them. The entire world isn't rendered all at once, allowing the game to save processing power and optimize resources. Likewise, light seems to behave like waves, but when we observe it, it's as if we're loading its properties, causing it to change and act like particles.
So what's real and
make
what's
sense?
not? Yeah, wait a minute. So the light saw that the camera was watching it? Is that what that's representing, or is that a
yeah, no, exactly. So like it did something fundamentally different when it was being observed by either a camera or by a person.
What the hell is like? So it's like it has its own like mind. It does its own thing. This is just light going through a
no, like anything. So like the video game example is a good example. So you know, like when you're playing a video game, like it's not like the entire world is uploaded like in the video game.
It's just what's in front of you and what you choose to open the door or wherever you go.
So it's saying like the properties of the world act like that.
Oh, shit.
Well, not to get too religious or biblical, but one would have to accept the world as something of a simulation if you believe in a God that might have created this universe. I mean, we might just be using terms a little differently. The light behaving differently if it's being observed seems like it might be doing both at the same time, and when you observe it, you're only observing one of the two things that it's doing. I'm going to have to go watch that a lot longer and ask one of my brothers who might be able to explain.
Oh, what's your brother do?
He's a smart guy.
Oh, he's smart. He just read books.
So I'm right there with you though. So like people jump to the conclusion that like, oh, if you believe in simulation theory, like then you don't believe in the God or creator. No, I don't think that's true. I just think that the world shows a lot of signs that it might be designed like similar to how we're designing like early phase computers, because it follows a lot of the same mathematics and code. So some other examples are the fact that so in 2017, a group of researchers at the University of Washington found that if you put malicious computer code into physical, you could put malicious computer code into physical strands of DNA. So their aim was to show that computers working in gene sequencing were vulnerable to attack, but they also inadvertently revealed that what we perceive to be biological reality was in fact computer code. So our biological makeup is like fairly similar to what computer code consists of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like our biology is like pretty similar to like how computers are made. Another thing, the universe is like encoded the way that computers are too. So theoretical physicist James Gates claims that he has identified what appears to be actual computer code embedded into the equations of string theory that describes the fundamental particles of our universe. He said he found error correcting codes that are what make up, that are like how browsers work within the universe. So like how birds fly, how fish swim together, and like the way that the planets move around, same coding as like that's within computers. And then the Goldilocks zone. So the odds of us like living in an area that is perfect for like, as far as temperature and environment, like think about how much we're threading the needle with the sweet spot of being like in a place that's not too hot, not too cold, and like out of the entire universe, this is the only habitable place because we haven't detected life anywhere else within like the vast universe. So it's almost like it's constructed perfectly for us to survive on.
Oh my God! So I mean, so what happens with religion when it comes to that? Are people like?
I mean, people jump to that conclusion that it's like an anti-religion thing, but I don't think it's an anti-religion thing. I say why would God would obviously design a place that's habitable for us. So I think
to just argue the opposite side, it's not just incompatible, it's almost necessary. Like the intelligent design simulation might just be another description for intelligent design.
All right.
But you blow your mind, by the way. I read The Black Holes in the Universe by I forget who wrote it. Imagine that it's not only one universe, but we live in a multiverse, and universes just come out of existence, and at any given point in time, there's an infinite number of universes that are coming, expanding, popping, and we are just not one planet in a galaxy in one entire universe. Multiverse theory. It's beautiful.
My God. Dude, that's, by the way, if I was smoking weed, I would be left right now.
I don't think there's enough to make me understand
to tie this all together real quick. So, you ever heard the concept of NPCs, like people who...
Go ahead.
It's like the concept of NPCs and people like that don't really think for themselves or whatnot. Like I guess we use the term sheep a lot. So it turns out the studies show 50% of people don't have inner monologue, meaning that they don't really aren't able to process thoughts in the way that the other half people do. So we wonder how is it that some people are so easily manipulated, like people who get brainwashed by the news and whatnot.
What do you think, Rob? What do you think? You think you think it's
NPCs?
You think it's real? Do you think it's fake?
I am so confused.
You don't know.
I have an inner monologue. It seems very odd to me that 50% of people walk around here with nothing going on in their brain.
Yeah, no, but
oh my God.
Think about that. I constantly, I'm sometimes too much in my own head.
100%.
Right. So there's 50% of people walking around that may not have that inner.
Studies say that. Yeah.
Do you? There's 5 of us here. Do you have an inner monologue?
I don't believe it, by the way. I saw the woman explaining what it feels like. I don't believe it. I think it might be another one of these TikTok-ish trends that are convincing people to have mental illnesses.
I don't hear my own voice when
I know. Well,
impossible.
No, I swear.
Something's telling me yes or no, right or wrong.
Pictures.
Something goes, don't do that. I don't hear it, but you know what's ultimately right or wrong, and that's what they say. It's God.